Imagine a world where the most advanced helicopter can be brought down by a weapon that leaves no scar, no trace, just silence and wreckage. That nightmare reportedly became reality in eastern Ukraine, when a United States Apache helicopter plunged from the sky without a single bullet fired. There were no missile trails, no shrapnel, only the lingering aftershock of invisible electronic warfare. Suspicions raced to the Russian Krasukha-Four, a shadowy electronic warfare system whispered about in military briefings but rarely witnessed in action. Eyewitnesses and intelligence sources claim this device unleashed a barrage of electromagnetic disruption, blinding sensors, frying circuits, and seizing control from the pilots. In mere moments, the pride of American aviation was reduced to smoldering debris. The Pentagon scrambled for answers. Officials and Western media suggested technical faults or mysterious malfunctions, but the evidence was hard to ignore. An icon of American power was felled by a silent, unseen force. For decades, the myth of aerial invincibility held strong, until it was shattered in seconds. If weapons like the Krasukha-Four are truly this potent, entire fleets of Western aircraft and drones, worth not just billions but trillions, could become obsolete overnight. The impact on national security, technological supremacy, and global power is staggering. So, what actually happened that day? And why is this single event shaking the very foundations of the Pentagon? To understand the repercussions, we must first explore how the Krasukha-Four works and why it represents a seismic shift in modern warfare. How could a towering symbol of American power vanish from the sky so suddenly and so inexplicably? The Apache helicopter, famed for its advanced sensors and heavy armor, carried the legacy of decades of battlefield supremacy. Its pilots flew with the confidence that Western technology would shield them from nearly any threat. But over eastern Ukraine, the air is thick with danger. Every flight is a wager against unseen hazards and shifting front lines. Even the most formidable machines now fly with a shadow of doubt. For years, the Pentagon insisted that Russian electronic warfare, systems like the Krasukha-Four, posed little risk to manned armored helicopters. Briefings assured commanders that only drones and unshielded sensors were truly vulnerable to jamming and electromagnetic interference. Yet Russian intelligence was watching, patient and meticulous. In the days before disaster, they caught hints of American preparations, intercepted radio chatter, satellite patterns, enough to predict a major reconnaissance push. Their answer was coldly efficient: lay a trap, then wait. At the heart of their ambush stood the Krasukha-Four, a weapon cloaked in secrecy. Its strength is subtle but devastating. It conjures a vast electronic dome, distorting signals for dozens of kilometers. Inside this invisible prison, radios fall mute, radars go blind, and navigation becomes a guessing game. Underestimating such power is not just an error, it is an invitation to disaster. In this new era of invisible warfare, even the most advanced helicopters can be rendered helpless at the flick of a switch. Now, as the dust settles, uneasy questions echo through military circles. What if the balance of power has already shifted, and no one in the West noticed until it was too late? Picture yourself inside the cockpit of an Apache helicopter, nerves steady, every instrument gleaming, until, without warning, your vision blurs into static. On the ground, witnesses recall a chilling, low electronic hum, as if the fabric of reality itself was being rewired. Suddenly, chaos erupts inside the chopper. First, navigation screens flicker out. Next, radar dissolves into a haze, and the communications headset sputters into silence. In less than 10 heartbeats, every digital system dies, leaving the crew stranded in a dead zone with no warning and no lifeline. Outside, the Krasukha-Four's silent antenna locks onto the Apache, pouring invisible interference into the sky. The helicopter's famed sensors and weapons are crippled. Its pilot is left flying blind in a storm of electronic warfare. Frantically, the crew fights to regain control, but the machine jerks and shudders. Calls for help are useless. Every emergency frequency jammed, every backup burned out. No distress beacon escapes the blackout. Moments later, the Apache spirals downwards and slams into the earth. At the crash site, only scorched wreckage, no black box signals, no radio trace, just silence and ruin. The Pentagon reels. Boeing's top engineers and American defense analysts scramble for answers. How could a multi-million-dollar icon of air supremacy simply vanish without a single shot? This is more than the loss of one Apache. It is proof that Western air superiority can be neutralized. If a single Krasukha-Four can do this, every helicopter, drone, or jet is now at risk of being rendered useless by invisible hands. The implications ripple through military command centers worldwide. Suddenly, the battlefield has changed. Forever. What if your trillion-dollar arsenal could be neutralized in an instant, without a single missile fired? This is not science fiction. It is the new reality after Russia deployed the Krasukha-Four, an electronic warfare system that does not destroy. It disables. One moment a pilot commands the skies. The next, their controls are dead, and their billion-dollar jet is just lifeless metal. The psychological shock is as devastating as the loss itself. The Pentagon is shaken. For decades, American and NATO aircraft relied on the myth of technological invincibility. Now, engineers scramble to rebuild the very code that once promised safety, because none of the old defenses work against a silent, shifting threat. The grim truth: it will take years and billions of dollars merely to catch up. Western generals are quietly alarmed. How do you defend against an enemy you cannot see or even prove exists? The Krasukha-Four has changed the battlefield, shifting dominance from firepower to control of the electromagnetic spectrum. Suddenly, every aircraft, every drone, every command post within hundreds of kilometers could be blinded, turned useless by Russian systems that work together like a digital minefield. America's response has been swift but desperate. Jets have been grounded, flight paths restricted. The skies are no longer safe. This is not only a tactical setback, it shatters the very idea of Western air superiority. If the West cannot adapt, it risks losing not just a fight, but its edge for an entire generation. Invisible weapons now decide who leads and who falls behind. The rules of war have changed forever. What lessons must Western powers learn to survive in this new, invisible battle space? The battle for dominance is being fought on frequencies, not with firepower. The old rules, where victory favored the biggest guns or the most tanks, are collapsing. The new high ground is invisible. Whoever controls the electromagnetic spectrum now seizes the battlefield. The recent downing of an American Apache helicopter, reportedly by Russian electronic warfare, with not a single shot fired, is no anomaly. It is an omen. Power now belongs to those who can seize, scramble, or silence the critical signals that modern militaries depend on. Advanced electronic warfare systems can blind, deceive, or completely disable even the most sophisticated machines. Stealth is no longer about coatings or engines. It is the ability to survive when every signal is a target. Real armor now means resilience against electronic assault. This transformation demands urgent adaptation. Investing in countermeasures and rewriting doctrine is not just wise. It is essential for survival. Those who do not adapt risk seeing entire arsenals rendered useless within moments. Decades and trillions of dollars of advantage can be erased by a well-aimed burst of electronic chaos. The uncomfortable truth: every nation must now question its assumptions about deterrence and military supremacy. The badge of dominance is no longer who makes the loudest boom, but who commands the silent war in the airwaves. To ignore this is not mere folly. It invites disaster and undermines the very credibility of Western military power. The loss of a single helicopter is a warning. The future of warfare is already here. But how did a single electronic strike bring down a machine designed to survive any battlefield? The answer reveals a vulnerability that no amount of steel or firepower can fix. The era of the loudest gun has ended. Are we prepared for the silent wars that now define the 21st century? Once, military might was measured by thousands of tanks, missiles, and the roar of jets. Today, a single invisible pulse can reduce even the most advanced machine to scrap in seconds. The true battlefield has shifted. No longer just land, sea, or sky, but the spectrum itself, intangible, absolute, and merciless. The reported downing of a United States Apache helicopter by Russia's Krasukha-Four system is not a mere technical mishap. It is a warning shot, fired without a bullet. For years, nations have poured trillions into ever more complex hardware, only to see it undone by a single, precisely timed electronic attack. Western air power's proudest symbol brought down, its sensors blinded, its crew helpless, its legend rewritten in an instant. Western militaries now face a chilling truth. Technological supremacy is no longer guaranteed by money or sophistication. The electromagnetic spectrum is the new front line, precious, invisible, and fragile. Whoever controls this domain can cripple satellites, silence drones, and blind defenses before their enemy even reacts. History shows that war's rules change, often without mercy. Armies that cling to old doctrines become relics. The Krasukha-Four is a flare for the future, a future won not by brute force, but by those who quietly rewrite the rules. Are we asking the right questions about power, security, and control? In the years ahead, the victors will be those who master battles no one else can see. Will we spot the silent threat, or fall to our own complacency?